AJ Dybantsa has been talked about like a potential superstar, and he showed us exactly why against UConn over the weekend. We'll break it all down for you next on Lockdown NBA Draft with No Ceilings.
You are Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings, your daily podcast on the future stars of the NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Lockdown NBA Draft with No Ceilings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. My name is Tyler Metcalf. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Tyler Rucker. Rucker, scale of 1 to 10, how much back in are you on AJ Dybantsa?
I've never left. I'm still there. It's amazing, the overreaction season. So let me okay, fine. I'll say a 9 because I feel like I just say 10 every episode because I'm excited to be alive and talking basketball with you. Metcalf, how about yourself? What number? Give me a number.
4,000.
Okay, good.
No, I'm very excited. He looked incredible. We got a fun episode today. We got best thing we saw over the weekend. We're gonna break down the UConn BYU game. But we got to start out with the star, the showcase, Mr. AJ Dybantsa, who had himself a game, and AJ walked away from that game. BYU lost by 2, almost came back, couldn't quite pull it off. But AJ walked away with 25 points on 8 of 14 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3, 7 of 10 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 0 assists, 3 turnovers, 2 steals. It really felt like a tale of two halves. But just big picture takeaway with AJ, what was it for you?
I think it showed you just how dangerous he could be when things are rolling, because if you didn't watch this game, you missed the biggest story. And this was like, hey, for 80% of the game, AJ was really struggling to find his groove. And then if you hadn't watched AJ and you watched that game, you've been like, what is all this hype about? And then all of a sudden he hit that switch and it was like, oh my gosh, look at what he's doing. I mean, he single-handedly, almost like he's just said, Metcalf, he almost brought them back by himself. He looked tremendous. And it was one of those moments UConn was looking around like, oh boy, the beast is loose right now. And we're trying to just get this clock to run faster. So, I came away more impressed with AJ because it showed adversity. It showed him not giving up. It showed him he battled to really try to pull this out. So unfortunately BYU lost, but I thought it was a big, strong takeaway from AJ in terms of scouting and just, evaluating and overall. What about yourself?
Yeah. And first half, it was a tough watch, and it was all of our concerns. Concerns is it always feels way more harsh and dramatic than I mean it to. Questions, irritations,
nitpicks.
I don't know. Sure, nitpicks, but apparently people don't know what nitpicking means anymore. But in the first half, AJ was 1 of 6 from the floor, 2 of 4 from the line. It's like, oh boy, this is kind of a bummer. And he felt rushed. It felt like he was trying to go out and drop 50, being back home. And just he was rushing stuff. He wasn't setting up shots like he typically does. He wasn't the really mature foul drawing stuff that we've historically seen from him wasn't there. It's just the lazy foul hunting. And then in the second half, with about 14 minutes left or 15 minutes left, he totally switched or flipped a switch and ended up shooting 7 of 8 from the floor, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. And I just did a film school breakdown going from start to finish on that game over on the No Ceilings YouTube channel, just to kind of highlight how he built towards that and how he in game adjusted and slowed himself down and just evolved his scoring and shot selection. It's like, this is superstar stuff. And I ended that video with like, he just showed us something that very few players in the entire country can do, and that's single-handedly take over a game.
Against the going into that game, a top 5 team. Going into that game, I thought that was going to be a rude awakening for BYU, because hey, AJ's incredible, but like, just if you're comparing rosters, it was like, hey, oh gosh, like, yeah, UConn should have the firepower right now, and they're missing, Braylon Mullins, who hasn't even one of their top 5 recruits. It hasn't even, played this year. But focusing on this game is like, I agree with you. AJ single-handedly was just going to battle. And it was a point where, he comes down in the second half. Like you said, he 7 of 8 in the second half, 21 points, ends up with 25. It was also like for the last 7 minutes of the game, he went on this run. So almost, but he goes down, he hits a and one in the middle. That was like a pro NBA move, hits the free throw, comes back down, I think gets back to the free throw line. And then it was just like, AJ's rolling now. And that's the superstar prospects. Those are the elite talents. You could tell when it's like, here we go. They're rolling now. Now they saw the ball go in a couple times, even if it's at the free throw line, they're feeling good. And then he was a wrecking crew. It was like UConn was trying to throw anyone at him to stop him, to slow him down. So to have that brutal of a first half and then to respond, and they were down in 15, 16 points, to respond and be like, the game's not over. We're coming. And AJ's, they're pressing full court. AJ's right into it. He's forcing turnovers. It told you a lot about the type of player he is. It told you like, hey, I can get cooking and look at when my stuff's rolling, it's pretty dang tough to beat. And that's what you want to see. When someone's at their high, what does it look like? And you saw a little bit of that from AJ in this second half, and you're, oh my goodness, that's why he's been hyped and discussed for so many years.
It was just special. And it wasn't quite to the same level, but it felt a little bit like that Anthony Edwards second half against Michigan State.
That's a good one.
Georgia and Maui, where it's just like, what? I don't get it with this dude. I'm not saying I don't get it with AJ, but like, just invisible in the first half. And then in the second half, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm a stud. Let me just take over this game and do whatever I want, whenever I want to. It was such a fun performance because I could almost feel just the absurd takes brewing online of just, the trolls getting ready and warming up their fingers and loosening their joints of like, oh, we're about to go to town and destroy this kid after this game. And it's like, because Darren Peterson had a really good, one game. Cam Boozer's starting to put up some monster numbers. Caleb Wilson had a monster game. Michael Brown had his monster game. Neo Avdilas had his monster game. And AJ's put up some solid numbers here and there. Has had some good games in the scrimmages, but there wasn't that big time performance. And this was an awesome opportunity against a top 5 team. And he came out flat. It's like, oh God, we're gonna have to deal with all this. It's like, no, he's AJ Dybantsa and he's the real deal. Deal with it.
It was complete, just middle of the game. I'm getting texts, I'm getting tweets at me of like, look at this guy's over it. I'm like, gosh, it happens all the time. We have to remember, don't get too high, don't get too low from one game. And even the elite prospects struggle and have bad games. So, but yeah, I felt it brewing. Man, it was like, oh gosh, we're really going to deal with this now of everyone. And then you see what he can do when things get clicking and you're just like, oh, that's why he's in the number 1 talks. That's why it's no, guarantee that it's one of these guys, either Cam Boozer or Darren Peterson. And, some people even were trying to throw out the like, hey, maybe Caleb Wilson's now, from North Carolina has leaped AJ. And then you see the second half, you're like, maybe we all need to just calm down a little bit and breathe for a second. These guys are all young. AJ is a special, special talent. And I think, talking to you off the air and now is the scary part with AJ is you also can see how much upside there still is to find, to untap, to unlock. And you don't usually see it with this type of prospect, like with a wing 6'9" with so many skills and so much talent already. You watch him and you're like, he's still got stuff to unlock. This is scary fun. So it's going to be a really fun year. And I think that's why it's like, hey, let's give all of these guys, every prospect, let's check in. Let's give them a couple months to see how they're developing. And if the second half of this game, we get AJ more consistently in the second half of the season, oh my gosh, it's going to be a fun race at number 1.
It really is. I want to continue
Yeah.
kind of going through how he found success, what changed from the first half to the second half, and some areas that he can still improve on right after this. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again, channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Game Time comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section, Game Time picks your seats, and you save big. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Okay, so I want to stick on the positives because there are so many. And in that first half, I'd mentioned that his shot selection felt rushed. It kind of felt complacent, and like he wasn't setting stuff up. Because in the second half, we saw him do all of that kind of stuff with when he would go to post guys up instead of one dribble, turn around, contested fadeaway. It was pound dribble, and then shoulder fake, and then explode to the middle of the floor. And throughout the entire game, so many of his drives were one direction. Once he got to the middle of the floor, is all right, now I'm just going to rise up over you, whether I have space or not, because he's 6'9", high release point, good scoring touch, and it didn't matter where the defender was. That led to some and ones. It led to some straight fouls. But then it also set up one of the most gorgeous moves we'll see from him, where he drove middle, shot fake, gets Caravan leaning one way, pivots back the other way, covers basically the entire lane, extension finish with his offhand for a layup in the final couple minutes. I thought just the way that he constantly set things up is almost like an offense in football, where it's like run, play action, bomb, touchdown. And they just constantly setting up the defense, whether it's to generate different looks, more efficient looks, cleaner looks, or attacking the defender's shoulders and their arms to get them in foul trouble. And instead of just playing physical through their chest, attacking their extremities to get them leaning and to get them reaching and put them in disadvantageous positions. None of that stuff. It felt like he wasn't doing any of that stuff in the first half compared to the second.
Yeah, I'll throw another sport analogy at you because I love when we do this. But I think in the second half, it was like just a calculated boxer that was just throwing jabs.
Yeah.
Just kept like, wait, the jab's really getting strong in the later rounds. And then he just finally was throwing haymakers and stuff. But first half, AJ just seemed like the moment, and he wanted to drop 50. And he was pressing, and he was trying too much. And you almost needed someone to grab and be like, hey, just take a deep breath. We're going to be fine. Because he was even moving like jacked up on defense too, where I was like, you're usually not this antsy and bouncy. Yeah. So you could see he was trying to make some stuff happen. Second half, you just saw like the flat, he was just staying even keel the whole game. But it was really impressive, the versatility. And I think, 6'9", people are always the shot selection. There's always people out there that question it. Last year it was with Ace Bailey, and it's like, hey, let's just sit for a second. If you're 6'9" and you can score and shoot over anyone, your shot selection preference at 6'1" on the couch like myself, or 6'2", compared to the 6'9" guy who can score from everywhere, probably a different world. So Ace Bailey's looking good as a rookie, and AJ, you see that is a couple times he gets to his spots, and it doesn't matter what you do defensively because he's got that high release. He shoots over you. He works to get to those spots, and he's got great footwork. And like you said, if you overcommit on that move, then he does the step through to gets us all replaying of like how amazing was that clip. So I've watched that 15 times, and it's just the length he covers, the athleticism, and then the raw scoring tools. You don't find the complete package with more upside still remaining. It doesn't come around often. And in this year, we just have to have two more freaks like that with Cam Boozer and Darren Peterson. But yeah, AJ's special, Metcalf, and I think we saw that was the most impressive part of the game for me. And I'm sorry I'm rambling, but that because he struggled the first half and second half shift to be like more calculated, patient, kind of reactionary.
Despite being down 20 when, you know, he wasn't like, all right, got to get it all back in one possession. It was, nope, we're going to chip away at this. We're going to methodically get into our offense, get
I'm
good
going to get
shots.
to the line.
Exactly.
I'm going to get fouled. Like, I'm going to slow the game down. You don't see that because, like you said, people usually come down like, we got to get threes up right away. We got to shoot a bunch of. He was calculated. He was like, let's take this one possession at a time. Let's slow it down to my pace. And I love when guys are like, you know what? I can do a lot of damage at the line. I can get people thinking at the line. I could slow this game down. And basketball's funny sometimes when you can just live at the free throw line. You really smart. And I like that about AJ early in the year is he has not forced the outside shot. He's worked to get to the line and create a lot of opportunities.
And there was one instance where it's like, oh no, don't go into foul or like shot chucking mode. And they were pushing in transition and he was able to walk into a three on the left wing uncontested. Terrace Reed gave him a big cushion, knocked it down. It's gorgeous. It's like, oh yes. Very next possession, same thing. He's coming up, tries to hit a step back on Caravan, just rims out. It wasn't a bad miss, but got unlucky, rimmed out. But BYU gets the offensive rebound, swings around. He goes to the top of the arc to get it. And it's like, oh, he's 1,000% pulling up here. He's going to try and jab, step back, try and take something flashy. Instead, jabs right, drives left, spins back, catches Caravan reaching and gets the foul call and goes to the line instead. And that's like, oh, I'm not used to you being that disciplined, because it would have been super easy for him to be like, I just had two really good looks, both of which easily could have gone down. Third time's the charm, right? Like, let's take this. Let's cut this 11-point deficit to 8 or whatever it was. And instead, it's like, shot didn't fall. I like my mismatch. I'm going to the rim.
And first half, he couldn't find anything to fall. Yeah. So he's tried to do that to get to the foul line just to create something. And the first half was just if movie fans out there with the replacement, it was the quicksand game. It was just like nothing he could do was helping or making it right. He just kept sinking deeper. Second half, everything was just so like, all right, I'm slowing down. I'm reacting to what they're giving me. And he was picking UConn's defense apart. Like you said, just beautiful reads, great decision-making when it's like, be patient. Now get to the line. Now get fouled again. First half, you saw him a couple times try to like draw the superstar whistle, and refs were like, no, we're not going for that one. So I think the second half was just a big eye opener in terms of like maturity, reacting to the game, adjusting in-game adjustments. We always say, especially when you're a young talent, like if you can, in-game adjustments are unbelievable with stuff like that. So it was really, really impressive stuff.
All right. Well, we've hinted at it a few times where as impressive as the game it was, he can still get better, which is scary. And we'll get to those areas right after this. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Okay, so wasn't a perfect game. We've mentioned the shot selection a lot, the kind of complacency in the first half. Was there anything else throughout this game that was a little frustrating or like, man, he's got to clean that up going forward?
For me, I know where you're gonna go, so I'm gonna let you have that moment. But for me, it's the handle a little bit. I think the handle. It's the handle with the decision making. Sometimes it feels a little predetermined with the attack, in my opinion, where it's just like 100% you're trying to just go get fouled or score or do something here, where it's like I want you to be able to react a little bit. And sometimes the handle just gets really wide and loose. And I think you saw a couple possessions in the first half where, UConn's giving them some ball and ball pressure and he's trying to escape. And it just kind of leads to like, get rid of it, get rid of it, breathe, regroup and get back. And I think he tries to force a little bit. So when you're 6'9", we always joke the ball's got to come up a little bit longer and AJ will be fine. I think that will develop with time, but it's just something I'm watching where it's more of like, the second half, I loved how composed he was and he reacted to what UConn was trying to do. The first half, I felt like he was trying to force it a little bit, which is the common thing we've been saying.
Yeah, and just kind of circling back to a little bit of praise, because why not? I thought in that first half, UConn did a really good job of staying disciplined and staying vertical and not swiping down on his head fakes and all of that kind of stuff. They got away with some, and the rest were letting them play. But physical basketball against two top 10 teams, you're going to let some stuff go early on, and then he adjusted and started dictating things, kind of like you said. For me, it's the defense.
Yeah.
But I've said multiple times in the past, I think AJ could end up being one of, if not the best defenders from this class. I still think that, but he's got a lot to do to clean up off-ball stuff.
There's still some good on-ball stuff.
There's.
Yes, yeah. Sorry. I cut you
good.
off. No, it's not okay. It's okay. Go ahead. You're saying off
yourself. I'm not sure any of that improvement's necessarily ever going to come at BYU, because I think the rest of this team is a disaster on defense. They tried to run out zone after Kiba Keita got hurt, which was a huge blow for them. And their defense was atrocious. It was one of the worst zones I have ever seen. I'm not sure they've ever ran zone, and AJ isn't solely to blame. I'm not throwing this on AJ, so don't misinterpret that. But in that context, it's like, oh, I'm not sure anyone on this team is necessarily getting appreciably better on the defensive end, because I don't know who the defensive identity of that team is, which is really concerning for me from a BYU standpoint going forward. And also, if he's going to have to start taking over games like this because Richie Saunders can't make a shot, because Robert Wright can't make a shot, then it's like, all right, well, I can't expect you to also be an elite defender while single-handedly having to take over these games on the offensive end. My bigger concerns kind of came with just his technique off ball. I thought he did a better job when he was acting as that low man, trying to communicate switches. They were switching everything. UConn is so difficult to defend with how much motion they have and how many off ball screens. And if you're going to switch everything, you have to communicate every single time. And it looked like he was trying to. Just that chemistry with everyone wasn't quite there yet. He mixed up a couple switches. Other guys mixed up a couple switches, and he really struggled with closeouts and chasing guys off screens where he would just go the wrong way or just fly by really sloppy closeouts. So stuff, it's not stuff that's like totally a red flag, but he has to clean it up. And teams like UConn, who have that much motion and ball movement and cutting, are going to expose that a little more.
Yeah, look, it was that's why I didn't love the matchup going into it, because BYU lost one of their best defensive players, and obviously, some off-court stuff, so I'm not going to comment on it, but Kennard Davis, was in the news and missed this game. So that was, one of their best transfers that when they came over was like, that's who you're pairing with AJ to be the defensive perimeter specialist. You lose him and it's like, okay, well, I love Richie Saunders. He ain't known for his defense. I love Robert Wright. He ain't known for his defense. So you got those two guys are meant for the offensive side of the ball, and they're smart players, but they have defensive limitations. They try hard, but they have limitations. And then when you lose Keita, you're like, oh boy, you lost a big, gigantic sort of building block of keeping everyone together. And now you're throwing a lot of responsibilities on AJ. And, early in the game, I actually liked the off-ball attention because he looked like he was trying to just talk to everyone. And I was like,
yeah,
I haven't seen that vocal this early. Yes. So it was good. And he looked pumped up. But then, it's just like you said, there's some off-ball stuff that needs to get cleaned up. There was some on-ball flashes I was very encouraged with. Even early in the first half, he's struggling to get going offensively. Has a couple really good, possessions where he forces some turnovers or, getting the ball back. So it was a good growth game from AJ, but you need to see the off ball get a little bit better. And, as you're hinting, Metcalf, like this is a situation with scouting. We always take it in consideration of like, okay, well, if this area is bad, but what about the context? What about the situation he's in right now? And it's a tough situation for him to shine all the time as a defender because he's having to do a lot right now.
But yeah, and like you said, just the fact that he was constantly pointing stuff out, seeming to communicate. Obviously, we don't know exactly what their schemes are. We can infer based on the tape and what guys are trying to do. But it looked like he was trying to do the right things, which is always really, really encouraging. If that's the baseline, that's workable. That's coachable. That can be fixed in time. How quickly? Who knows? But feels like a good spot to end it. This was a really, really awesome game from AJ. I highly recommend going back and watching it because it's a tale of two halves. And if you're looking for a little more condensed film breakdown, head over to the No Ceilings YouTube channel. Did film school over there, and we got a ton of awesome content up there as well. Teams working hard. NoCeilingsNBA.com to find all of our written work as well. We'll be back on Thursday. Until then, he is Tyler Rucker. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf. You can follow me at TMetcalf11. Thank you for listening and making Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings your first listen every day.